young superstars.
For the all, actually, question ko, parang, hindi, marinig naman sa
Okay, my question is like, may mahirap pa ba sa yung i-tell na story where you can tell the story through pictures na lahat eh? I mean, you're one of the guys na I admire sa local. I mean, it's one of the best storyteller. Pero may mahirap pa ba sa'yo? I mean, how para maano sila na parang ma-inspired yung mga upcoming artists na parang may mas mahirap pa ba i-tell mo na story?
Harvey, are we right? What is there a kind of story that still challenges him?
Yeah,
okay.
Every time. Actually, every story is a challenge. It's a challenge. You know, parang you given a, let's say the one I'm working on is high fantasy na siya. So I've written books about martial law, and then my generation, and then Halina Filipinas about yung Filipino American going to the Philippines. And every book is very challenging. There's no such thing as easy. And you know that because you never stop learning. It's like when you stop learning. Like even now, I'm still learning how to do animation. I'm applying it to my comics. The moment you stop learning, it's like that's when you're too proud. Oh, I know everything. That's when your work begins to suffer. You know, because you need to keep learning. Then even now, I still collect comics, still buy manga. You know, I still I stalk Harvey. Did I say stalk? No, I follow Harvey sa Instagram. Checking yung mga, you get inspired then looking at yung works of Harvey, and it's obviously kay Lane Neal and Jerry Alangiran, yeah. And you get inspired because you look at their drawings and this is how they drew that. Okay, that's interesting. And then you're learning from each other then. So yeah, every time it's always challenging. There's no such thing as an easy story to tell. You know.
Next question. Anyone? Tanong kayo kasi.
Yeah.
Mas maganda yan. Matanong niyo.
Directly. Any more questions?
Ako magdediretso. What's your name?
Brian.
Brian. Hi, Brian. Are you a writer, an artist? Aspiring? No problem. Aspiring? Sige, any question? As an aspiring artist? What kind of stories do you like to write?
I'm more interested in fantasy stories, more like in superhero stories. But I'm just curious, how do you make interesting stuff for the story? I mean, sure, ideas comes up for you, but how do you make it more interesting to the readers?
Okay. Since you mentioned fantasy, perfect timing because I'm working on a 600-page high fantasy, and I don't think I'm gonna do another fantasy story. It's just too difficult. Okay, how do you make it interesting? Okay, because you think that it's fantasy, everything is interesting now because you have dragons or kanyang and elves and what have you. But if you don't tell a good story, or if you don't have interesting characters, it fails. It will flop. It will be boring. The most important thing, the most interesting thing, and readers don't know this, diba? Even when you watch movies or read other books, diba? What makes it interesting is the story. It's not so much as yung like armor ganyan or concept ng parang dragons that can talk or ganyan. It's more than that. It should be about the story. Yeah, the story, the characters. Can I relate to the characters? The moment, when you're reading a book and then you see, hey, that's me, or I know someone who's like that. You can relate to the character. That's what makes it interesting. That's what I keep telling mga young comic book artists. Kasi I also saw, kasi I was I'm making comics since I was in high school. We all went through that. Yung parang mauuna yung armor. You focus all your effort creating armor and ganyan, and then later on when they ask, what's the use of that? And then you say, well, it looks cool, diba? But it doesn't stop there. It's never later on, when I grew up and then I studied writing, creative writing, and then eventually animation. It's really about who is this character. Find out. Parang I want to know more about this character. Not so much as in armor, or I want to know who this is. So that's the most important thing. Okay, make your stories interesting, make your characters interesting. Yes.
Name, writer, address.
I'm Umi.
Hi, hello.
I'm freelancer, comic artist.
Freelancer. Oh, that's good. You know, I started freelancing then. You know, 2 years after I graduated, I said, office work isn't for me, so I went freelancing and make comics. So okay lang, yeah.
And that's almost what my question is about. How do you start from the beginning and then up to now? Like,
Beginning, I mean how I started working in comics.
yeah, something like that.
Okay, so, oh no, I'm gonna reveal my age. Graduated college in 1993. Oh no, I don't think you were born. Were you born in time? No, 1993. Oh my God. Okay, so after I graduated, syempre, UP Fine Arts, and we were taught VisCom, visual communication, so advertising. Right after graduation, advertising agad. I just felt, because I've been making comic books since I was a kid, and it was fun. I've been working in advertising. I made several storyboards for TV ads, and I had same thing. Parang I talked with the art director. Said I think mas maganda kung yung shot. It would be better if the shot would be like this or like that. You know. So that's when I thought, and then later on, it's not for me. You know, going to the office, 8 o'clock in the morning, and then you stay there until like what, 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. depending on your work. It's just not for me. And it would have been nice if I was writing a story or making a comic book, they were telling a story, but it's not. It's for TV commercials. It's just not for me. So I decided in 1994 to go freelancing and started making comics. And then that's where I met Jerry Langen was the first one I met, and then later on si Ed Tadeo, and there were shows. It's a nice feeling because I'm not the only one doing comics. It's when you meet other people that you're, and this is 1994. Medyo payat. Yeah, so yeah, it was fun, and that's where I said I think I'm gonna stick to this. And in 1998, I wrote my first fantasy story in Mythology class. Yeah, so and I think I finished it in like 7 months because I was so inspired by that. When I released it, it got a lot of good reviews and reactions. So it kind of fueled my my interest in comics. And I said, this is for me. I'm gonna make this into my career, making comics. I applied to Marvel. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I applied to Marvel. I actually received a letter. Yeah, they gave me a script now. They liked my work, and they said I was going to do, they wanted one more exam, one more test. So they gave me a script. Yes.
You give me script for one more text.
Yeah, I was going to do Spider-Man. Yeah, that issue where pregnancy, si Mary Jane. I was supposed to do that issue. But when, when I went to New York, I don't know, something happened lang. I just couldn't explain it. Parang I had yung pages. I just thought I can explain it. I said I'll just write yung editor a letter na lang saying that I couldn't make it because of financial stuff but I created an excuse. And syempre when I went back, wala akong trabaho. So parang I couldn't find work. So I said, oh, holy shit, what did I do? Oh man, parang. So I was really distressed. But if I didn't go home, I wouldn't be able to do mythology class. Because right then and there, I continued creating this old fantasy historical mythology class. Tinuloy ko siya. And yeah. So I decided na parang maybe it's a dream kasi to work abroad. But not all of us are equipped. Parang we need, I guess my calling would be to promote Filipino culture. So I'm really happy with that naman. It's tough then. It's tough, syempre, diba? But I enjoy it then. And I think that's more important than anything. Okay. Anyone else?
We have a question from Toto Madaya.
one of our up-and-coming creators.
Wow.
Thank you. Sir Arnold, big fan here.
Ah.
Nag-announce kayo recently ni Sir Gerald Tarok about a movie.
Yes.
Kung okay lang matanong kung parang sort of an exclusive preview from you, kung gaano ba kalaki yung involvement mo doon with regards to wala kasi kaming idea, wala akong idea personally about film, kung ano magiging input mo doon with regards to syempre special effects.
Okay, yeah. Thanks.
I think maybe also as a potential career path for an artist or writer.
Right. Well, paano ba to? I can't, I can't, okay, the only thing I can say is I'll be very involved with the project. As in from, basta, I'll be very involved from everything that's in. And that's all I can say. I can't,
Maybe use your
I get into
imagination.
trouble. I can't.
As a
yeah.
visualizer, as a never mind.
Yeah.
How about
very-
as a career path? How viable would that be?
I have to see. I have to see. Syempre, yun nga, I can't say anything else. It's still under development. That's all I can say. Sorry.
That's still a confirmation though, right?
At least we have an idea na
Yeah.
nothing is holding you back.
Yes.
Creative races.
Yeah. If there's anyone kasi who will, it's Gerald. I'm not allowed kasi parang basta there's an agreement kasi I might get into trouble if I so all I can say is it's under development. Yeah. Okay.
All I can say is nice try, Tony. Anyone? Questions? I'm coming there. And
Nice shirt.
My name is Francis.
Hi, Francis.
I'm a student from
Binil? Okay.
So, sir, bakit gusto rin sana mag-interview sa inyo sa thesis?
Sa thesis?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Siguro email.
Yes, sir. Madami
it's
po kasi
possible.
akong question.
Okay. Right now kasi I can only take, email. I can't go to yung actual recording.
Yung isa sana sa yun na rin.
Okay lang. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, thanks.
So spacebar or
I am Carl from Ateneo. I teach. You mentioned that you're actually influenced by so many the things that you read. Like all artists, they are actually influenced by the things that they read. But at the same time, what I notice is that what you read sort of slowly creeps up into your creation. And
That's true.
part of the problems usually of creators is where do you then create your voice? How do you then, what's that consciousness that you have that wait, I'm actually copying somebody else's work instead of actually making it mine. So
Well, there's a big difference when we're copying it. Because that's why I don't, when I was, a friend of mine lent me a book called, by Scott McCloud, Understanding Comics. I have never read it. I've been doing comic books for like 15 years since at that point when I read yung Scott McCloud. And I noticed when I was reading it, parang I seem to be doing all the stuff that he mentioned, and parang like paneling and all that. And so after reading the book, I became conscious na rin. Parang, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? So my influence kasi in comics is that there is a chance that people might say, well, I've already seen this. I've already seen that. But unlike film kasi, when you copy yung shot and all that, that's more obvious. That's why I keep telling students, read yung comics. Don't copy them. Just read through them. Study in drawings, but don't copy. Try to understand why he used this panel, but don't copy. Because that's how I trained myself then. I grew up, we're three boys sa bahay. And so my older brother, siya yung critic. So I would show my stuff I was like siguro like 7 years old. I would show my stuff to syempre, mga Voltus 5 and Japanese robots, and he would say, Gaya, oh, you copycat. And he would say, you copied that from Gaya. So I grew up in that kind of environment. So I am always conscious. I'm always conscious that I want to do something. I want to do something different, but I want people to see that this is unique. The hardest thing kasi is, I guess, themes, yung thematic. That's when you get too close for comfort. Like if you are going to draw manga, you have to understand your culture. You have to understand why the costumes are like that. That's why I try to make mine always Filipino, because that's the best way to be unique. No one else does Filipino except us. All right. Everyone else can do dragons and knights and armor, or Final Fantasy. Everyone can do that. But if you try to promote the Filipino culture, I guarantee, you will always be unique. In fact, they might copy you. That's the thing. By the way, speaking of Filipino culture, I was just watching Born Identity. You know that scene where Jason Bourne folds yung newspaper to defend himself? You know that scene? That's Arnis. Turns out he was being trained by Arnis instructor, who is American. That's our culture, di ba? We're not credited. And number two, did you know that the U.S. Army, kasama na sa training nila, Eskrima, being taught by Americans? That's our, so slowly, unahan na tayo eh. Until we do something, until we promote our culture, people will always wonder, is that Filipino? I mean, take Ong Bak for instance. Everyone knows Thai boxing, but does everyone know about Arnis or Eskrima? Not so much. We need to promote, that's why one of the arguments kasi people saying parang, Arnold, why do you keep promoting Filipino culture? Ganyan, we want to draw what we want. Yeah, that's cool. Pero if it won't hurt then to promote Filipino culture. It's interesting. No one else does this then. Yeah. So to answer your question, parang you will always be unique because no one else in the world does Filipino stories, Filipino characters. That's it. More?
Hello. My name is Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian. Aspiring artist. I was wondering, how does one make the setting interesting? Like, the story is paramount, characters are interesting. How does one make interesting world building?
Oh, perfect. Yeah, within a line, I'm working on a fantasy story. Yeah. Okay. I would say try not to create your world first. Okay, talaga. I know it sounds crazy, everyone else, when you're making a fantasy world, you have to create your world first. Okay, I suggest no. Set it aside. Focus on your characters first. Okay, depending on who your characters are or yung powers nila or whatever, again, it will define your world. Always focus on your character. Yeah. I know it's so easy to be, to dwell and in creating worlds, yung fantasy world, you have to creating science, you have to creating religion, how many moons they have, what kind of creatures or monsters that live in this world. It's so easy, but afterwards you have this encyclopedia of yung detailed characters and settings in world, but later on useless siya because your characters are boring. I would say talaga, first creating characters. Try to find out who he or she is, what does she do, ano yung limitations niya, what's ano yung fears niya, ano yung dreams niya. Yun. Always try to focus on those things. Okay? And everything else will follow it. I have read so many comics from students. They would show me students asking for advice. And some of them, they focus too much on like in world, talking me details, sila ganyan, parang every time the night sky would turn this color, these kinds of creatures would come out, all that stuff. But when I read the story, I don't know what the hell's happening, because he didn't focus on yung characters first. So yung suggestion ko. And besides, diba, we relate to human beings, we relate to each other, not to the environment. Diba? Based on the human, the person you're with, that's when you try, that defines your environment. Diba? But we talk to people, we listen to people, we communicate with each other. That's why character building is more important than world building.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Arnold Arre.
Thank you.
Ardi Aquino, Gustavo Custodio, Mel Casipit, Indie Komiks Podcast.